I met someone who's been called a racist, and some would call him also a white supremacist. But I'm still here, still alive to talk about
They
it.
know that somebody's coming.
You're raising chickens yet?
I'm close. Keeping my bird hunting and fly fishing skills honed to feed my own chicks. But no, so everyone knows that's coming. Clearly, this is not a political debate. This is the age-old, literally age-old from the beginning of time, battle between good and evil. It's a spiritual battle, obviously. There's no explaining transgenderism in political terms. Oh, castrate your children. Okay.
My awakening happened several years ago. I'd say around 2017 is when it actually happened. And it happened because of a very good friend. Well, she was a good friend at the time, but now we are no longer friends. So, because I chose a different political side, obviously. So, we're going to talk a little bit about me today and my journey and where that has led me. Okay? So, my political journey started about 2017. 2016, I'd moved to a new state, didn't know a single soul, well, maybe one or two, but it was a struggle. It was a journey for me to get myself established, housing, employment, and so on. But I did not come empty handed. I came with a little bit of change in my pocketbook. I did have that, and I had some essentials, a vehicle, a computer, things like that. So I was not completely destitute. Again, I came for new beginnings and a new adventure. And boy, have I gotten an adventure. So in 2017, Donald J. Trump took the office. During the 2016 elections, I was not paying attention because I newly moved to Florida, and like I said, I was focused on my establishment. But I was not blind or deaf to what was going on. And so I remember I was walking, I had just found housing and I was in a new position, and I was walking. It was the day after the election. And again, this was like my first week in this neighborhood. And I'm walking my dog, we're walking, and somebody kind of came out of the blue. Like they were just there. It was like early morning, 7 a.m. And the person says to me, how do you feel about Donald Trump becoming president of the United States? And I looked at her and I says, I only wish I could go to the inauguration. And that was the honest and God's truth. And she looked at me as if I had 10 heads, like, huh? You want to go to the inauguration? I said, yes. Yeah, that's what I want to do. But didn't realize that that would get me into a whole lot of trouble. So we're going to talk about me a little bit today. You ready? Hello and welcome to The Conservative Poet. My name is Amania. Here on the channel, I do reaction videos, political commentary. I throw some comedy in there, a little bit of humor to drive home the crazies that we're seeing in the society. So if that is something that is interesting to you, then you've come to the right place. I would ask that you interact. Maybe you can like the video. That helps me out with the algorithm. Maybe you can comment. I like to banter it out in the comment section. And maybe you can join if you'd like the comments and the commentary. Maybe you'd like to subscribe. And don't forget to share. If you like it, maybe somebody else will get value out of it. So I thank you in advance for your communication and your partnership in this community. So God bless you, God keep you, and I'll see you in this video. So after Donald Trump's inauguration, and I was now settled in my life, and things was happening. And so my very good friend at the time called me up and says, um we were having conversations, and this came up, and it was, well, you know at the time I was not a citizen of the United States of America, though I have always been conservative, had conservative views and values. And but at the time I didn't even know that that's what I was. Like, I just knew I had very, very specific thoughts about things, and I was never like, oh, I didn't even know there was a word for it. I just knew, like, I saw certain things and I felt a certain way about certain things. And so my friend called and says, look, I think it's time for you to probably take becoming a citizen seriously, because now that we have this racist in the White House who wants to pack up and ship everybody out, you need to go and get this sorted out. And I thought, you know what? I've been a resident for a very long time, and maybe it's time I've lived here for all of these years, lived in America for all these years, but I never had any teeth in the game because I wasn't a citizen. So therefore, I was like, okay, well, whatever. And so when she said, and so I decided, okay, well, I'll do the paperwork. I'll get it done. I'll get my citizenship done. And so for that friend, I say an immense thank you, but not just for that, but because of you, I went down a rabbit hole, and I came out this. so so wow. So that is a thanks to her. Okay? So when she told me this, I was like, okay, I'll do this. So I got everything done. I got my paperwork in, and did the whole shabil, and I became a citizen. And I remember my class of the citizenship was the first one that Donald J. Trump presided over, or I was the first citizen class that Donald Trump did as president. And so that was really exciting, because I'm sitting there, and he comes on the screen and he says, welcome to becoming a new citizen, and do your civic duties, and so on and so forth. And it was great. And so I remember in the place, because I knew what I was. I knew I was not a Democrat. I knew that. And so I checked off the Republican box, because I knew I wasn't Democrat. And so I checked it off, and I did my voter thing right then and there, because I knew what I was. I knew what it was. And so later on, I think it was like later, maybe like the next year, or a few months later, it was a little bit of time had passed. And so we took a trip. It was we took a trip to, where did we go? New Orleans. We went to New Orleans for, it was a festival of some sort. And so we went. And this was like still early on, like in Trump's administration. And I remember we were in the hotel, and my friend was so angry at the television. Donald Trump was on there, or actually it was Melania Trump. And she had on that jacket, something about bait kids in cages or something. But that was the conversation at that time. And she wore something about children on her jacket. And my friend was like crazy. She was like ready to break the television. I said, my God, why is she so, passionate about this? Like, what is this? I was like, I need to understand this. I need to understand, like, where all this emotion is coming from. I need to understand. And so I went down the rabbit hole, and I came out this. So now, with my newly awakened self, I decided I needed to learn everything about why my friend hated Donald Trump so much. Like, I needed to understand it because I didn't get it. Because everybody loved Trump. He was this businessman on television, like Trump. Everybody knew him. Everybody loved him. So I did not understand, like, why all of a sudden he was so hated. And I was like, what did I miss? Like, what did I miss that I didn't understand it? So I said, you know what? I'm gonna have to go to the beginning. I'm gonna have to learn it from the beginning. So I went on a Trump tour. I started from the escalator ride. I watched that video, and then I went to another and another, and I went into the rally. I would watch daily. I was being consumed. Like, I was putting it in and putting it in, and I'm like, I don't see why they hate him. I don't see the reason why they hate him. What is he saying that's not true? What is he saying that's not real? What is he saying that's not right? I don't understand it. So as I started to become well versed in the language and the lingo of politics, and as me and my friend would talk, I would drop a couple of things that I learned, say this, or I'd say that, or I'd say this, and she'd be like, wait a minute, you sound like you like Donald Trump. You sound like you might be one of those Republicans. Oh boy. That did not go over well because it turned out that was the case. I was one of them here Republicans. I was one of them here conservatives. You might dare call me a white supremacist. And so, and we would talk and have conversations, and obviously at this point we would just be bantering. I'd be trying to state my points, and she would, try to change my mind, and I'd be saying, well, this is how I see it, and she'd try to change my mind, and it just, and then one day the friendship was just over. It was just over. And this is a childhood friend, by the way. And as my years have been progressing in this walk, because she woke me up, it's true. And I think that God, like, presented this opportunity for the awakening. I don't think anybody else could have, woken me up aside from her. Like, that was her duty for me, and I'm thankful for her for that, and I'm thankful for God for waking me up so I was able to start the journey of what I am today. So my first duty was, I says, I'm a citizen now, I'm an American, and I have to do my civic duties as an American. And so I started to learn about who my local representation was and who those people were. And I really started at the congressional level. I wanted to know who my congressperson was. And I found out, and I looked at her and I said, wow, this is who you are. And I did not like that. And we were getting ready to go into an election. We were getting ready to go into the midterms. And I was like, well, I want to get involved. I want to be on the ground. This is my civic duty. Now I'm an American. This is what we do. So I went volunteering, and I ended up on a congressional campaign. And from there, I landed doing some work with Black Voices for Trump. And then I ended up becoming a member of the Florida Republican Assembly. And then I became the secretary of the Florida Republican Assembly, and I still am, the Orange County chapter. And then things progressed. And of course, I ended up doing some work behind the scenes, campaign work. And then the Conservative Poet was born. And then I became vice president of the Pine Hills Republican Women and became members. So it was just a lot, because once I said okay to God, like I said okay, like the doors started opening, the opportunities started opening, and I was just walking in. And so in all of this, I've met a, a plethora of people, congressmen's, um, I've been to two CPACs. I've been to multiple conventions. I've been to like 10 plus Trump rallies. And I've been to major Trump events. And I've been in the room with President Trump. Like, yeah, I've been there. And so I say all that to say, like, I never, like, when God has for you, nobody can take it away. Nobody can. And now that I see the things that's coming to fruition, like being on different podcasts, being on the radio, being at different, things, and again, meeting a slew of people, like, oh yeah, I met him. Oh yeah, I met him, and I have pictures here for this and this and that. And so, but recently, I met the biggest man there is. If you haven't guessed it yet, not Donald Trump. I've been in the room, but I haven't officially met him. Not like met him. But I had the distinguished pleasure of meeting the second most hated man there is from the left, Mr. Tucker Carlson. And I got pictures to prove it. So this journey has led me to be in the room with such a figure like Tucker. And I say in the beginning, I met a racist and a white supremacist, as they like to call him, and live to tell about it. This man was the most genuine, amazing. I had a few minutes with him. I have no words what that was like, standing there talking to Tucker. It was amazing. And my journey has brought me here. And when things like this happen, you know that it is God, because man couldn't put this together. The doors, the opportunities, man couldn't have done this, because God has something within me that he wants delivered to the world. And he shows that to me every single day. All I got to do is obey. All I got to do is follow the blueprint. All I got to do is just focus on him and whatever it is that he wants, and the doors open. And I'm working on a lot of different things that I will be birthing soon. But I wanted to share this Tucker story because this is where I've come to. I came from a place where I was just not there. And because I had a love of country and a love of service, I was able to just, I don't know, just this is what I am. And if you pay attention to me, what I do on the ground, the campaign work that I'm doing, just was it last night? Just last night, I was on the Void Nicholas podcast. And it's a new podcast. And so we were testing it out. And so we chatted it up, and I shared it. I streamed it on this channel. Because, I am of Haitian, I am within the Haitian community. And so that's a part of my history. That's a part of my story. And so, I shared that because somehow, some way, God is using all of it, to push his agenda through me. And these are opportunities and doors that's opened. And so I want to say that be open, be true to yourself, be true to who you are. And all you got to do is wake up, pray, and give God the glory. And so, God, you got the glory. I got to have a few minutes with Tucker Carlson. right? I give you the glory because it was great. And I'm going to play a short clip from the event that I was at where I met with Tucker. And you're not going to see this anywhere else because this was a very private conversation. And I'm going to play a little bit of that so you all can see that I met the racist, the white supremacist, Tucker Carlson, and I live to tell about it.
To meet you. I kept saying to them, no, that's the most handsome family I've ever seen. But it was a reminder that there is a connection between people's, I hate to say this, but their views of the world and the spirit within them. And what an incredible endorsement of this group and of your views, that every single person I met was just like radiating happiness and contentment and joy, and I just absolutely loved it. So it made me feel better. Every morning I wake up very early and I go into the kitchen with a couple of my dogs, a couple of the rest stay in bed with my wife, and I sit there and I read the Bible, and then I read the news, and I'm halfway through my phone, and there are a couple of deep sighs. The dogs look at me like, what's wrong? And what's wrong is the world has kind of like gone so bonkers that it's hard even to understand. Yeah, it's like beyond. It's like every day is like a Babylon Bee episode. It's like, this can't be real, but it is real. And then you think you can really, if you spend a lot of time reading your iPhone alone, which I try not to do, you can really get the impression that things are collapsing. And then you go to an event like this and you realize, no, actually, the people making those noises are a tiny fraction of the country. They happen to be the loudest and the most aggressive because they're the most unhappy. So there's a direct connection between the barrenness of your personal life and your desire to impose bad ideas on other people.
That's right.
And people who are content, and I have to say that was I don't have many skills, but one of my only real skills is I can smell things on people like instantly. Well, I think we all can, but I'm very in touch with my inner dog. So I believe all the smells I get off people. And the main feeling that I got from everyone whose shoulders I put my arm around for the last hour was of contentment and peace. And that's the greatest. Those qualities are the greatest of all in a moment of volatility like this one. I really mean that. So that was incredibly affirming and great for me. It was like the only photo line I've ever been in where I thought, I hope this goes on longer because I don't believe it. Anyway, so if there's hope in the world, it's just right here. And this is not the sum total of the people like this in America. You can go any place in the country outside of a few small pockets like the neighborhood I spent the last 30 years in Washington. But there's no one like this. But in the rest of the country, it's filled with people like this.
Yeah.
So I don't think we should despair at all.
Yes.
No matter what happens. Anyway, thank you so much. I can't wait to have dinner with you, and I hope I won't talk too long. It's going to be mostly Q&A, because once I get rolling, it's really like a runaway train. So I'll try to keep it to 20 minutes, but I will see you soon. Thank you.
So now you know a little bit about me, and I want y'all to know that this Tucker Carlson event happened several weeks ago. I've just been swamped with so much that I couldn't even get it done, and I wasn't sure how I was going to present it. But again, this is how the Lord wanted me to show this. And he wanted me to share a little bit about me with you. And so I've done so. And it's just again to show you where I came from and where I'm at now. So went from, not even paying attention in a new state with not knowing anybody, and then to become so involved in the community where I know the politics like the back of my hands. I know all of the players. I know, all of it. And that is not by accident. So I don't know what God has plans, you guys, but you're going to be with me for the ride, because hopefully we're going to take the conservative poet to different levels, to different yeah, we're going to take it to different levels. And so I'm just grateful that God has covered me and is keeping me through all of this. So that's going to be it for this video. Thank you very much for taking the time, and God bless you and God keep you, and I'll see you in another video. Hello, fellow patriots. I am so proud to announce our new line of patriotic candles. They come in 5 different scents. They are amazing scents. If you are a candle person, or if you know somebody who is a candle person, then you know we live by candles. And this would make an amazing present, gift for anybody you know. This is a great product, very well made, lovely scents, and they are soothing and comfortable and patriotic, just in time to light them up for the 4th holiday, just in time to burn for freedom. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to burn them and light them up for freedom. So go to orlandopatriot.com and get yourself 30% off right now. Seen that? Heard that? Good.